Okay, we are basically living in an Egypt type place now, because anytime that people take over and try to claim that they're God, that's exactly what Egypt used to do all the time. Is they'd put pharaohs up, and people would worship the pharaohs as though the pharaoh brought the sun or was the sun god, or other gods. But they didn't just worship like golden idols and little statues like that. Sometimes they made the people worship idols too. But sometimes they made the people worship themselves, the pharaohs and their families. Um, there's that one common theme of all Israel, Abraham and on. They and Lot too. Really, they would always avoid Egypt. The only reason they kept winding back up in Egypt is when there was famine in the land. Abraham had to go back to Egypt because there was famine in the land, and he had to take Sarah, his wife, and said she was his sister, and so they didn't kill him and keep her. They always wound back up in Egypt, seemingly because there was always famine in Egypt, and then Joseph got sold into Egypt. But then of course they wanted to leave Egypt again. Moses rose up to leave Egypt again, and that's because they were worshiping these false gods. God did not want them in that land because they kept worshiping false gods, whether it be Nimrod or whoever they were worshiping, whether it be Cain or somebody like that. But anyway, they always wanted out of Egypt, whether it be Abraham, Moses. Joseph didn't want sold into Egypt, even though Egypt seemed to have a pretty booming economy. The reason he didn't want to go there was because they had a different God. I don't think he could complain about the economy. And they weren't upset with him either, because he brought them corn for the dream that he had about the lean cows eating the fat cows. But anyway, they managed to get away because Moses had the real God's help to get away. But anyway, even nowadays, Egypt's not a place to stay. But nowadays it's worldwide, so you can't really get away from it. But that is the thing that Israel always wanted, was to leave Egypt, because they didn't want to be forced to worship these false gods.